Apart from the fact that you need to hear God to know the right person, the truth is that you're not perfect. That's the truth. There are a whole lot of things that are in you that God needs to work on. Hello guys, welcome to Purple City. My name is Nazo and it's always a joy to have you join me on this platform. Okay, so I told us the last time I got married, and I'll be giving us some tips or talking about the entire season and all the things, all the lessons that I learned in that entire period. So yes, today I'm going to start today. Hold on a minute. Have you subscribed to my channel? Have you subscribed to Purple City yet? If not, what are you waiting for? It's beautiful. I'm so glad to have you. So why not click on that subscription button and hit the notification button so you get to know when I post new videos. Thank you. Alright, so I want to talk about how to prepare for marriage, and today I'm just going to give 5 tips. Like I always say, I love feedback, so feel free to put a feedback or tell me other tips that you know, whether you're married or not, and preparing for marriage. All right, so marriage is not a casual thing at all. Trust me, I'm less than 2 months, so I know say it's not a casual thing. It's just something you go into casually. If you remember some time back, I did a video on love is not enough. If you want, you can go back to my videos and you look for love is not enough. It's not a casual thing. It's not a child's play, right? It's just something you go into because, oh, I love him, he loves me, we love each other. You need more than that basically to go into the marriage journey or the marital journey. So I'm going to talk about 5 ways. Basically one way with many with many babies. So we're going to be looking at Luke chapter 14 verse 28. It says, "For which of you, intending to build a tower, does not sit down first and count the cost, whether he has enough to finish it?" So we see that anything that you want to do in life, anything you want to venture on, any project you want to venture on, the first thing that people would always do is to sit down, draw a budget, draw a strategy. Let's see, how are we going to achieve this dream? How are we going to achieve this vision or this mission, right? Whichever it is. So, but you know, when it comes to marriage, many times we seem to neglect this vital part. We seem to forget that we also need to prepare for it. I think one of the reverends that wedded us said marriage is the only institution that you get the certificate before the wedding, before you go into it, because on your wedding day or your court registry, whichever one, they give you the certificate, right? But you've not even had exam, you've not even gone through any form of lessons or something, right? But you're already given a certificate. So now it's left for you to now make up your mind and decide to go through your own lessons before they give you the certificate, right? So marriage should be prepared for, just the way you prepare for exam. You don't wake up and become a doctor, you don't wake up and become a teacher. You learn, you go through processes to become these things. Also, to become a wife, to become a husband, you need to learn. Trust me, you need to learn. So number 1, you need to know God for yourself. You know, back in the day when I was still growing up in faith, I remember one of my sisters then that got married. I was so, you know, admiring of her. I'm like, "Ma, how did you know he was the one? How did you hear God? How are you sure it's God you heard?" Because I mean, I came from a denomination, and I'm so happy I did anyway, that would always tell you that you need to hear God, though. It's not you love me, I love you. No, you need to hear God to be sure that this person is the one you're going to do forever. Let me stress that, forever, because divorce is not an option, clearly. So forever with. And she told me something. She said, and which many people have said over time too, first of all, you need to be able to build your work with God, because the same way God will tell you something, maybe you're studying the Bible and he opens up the Bible to you or answers a question or gives you an instruction, is in that same voice and manner that God will come and tell you who is going to be. So if you do not have a walk with God, you're already cutting yourself short. The first point in preparing for marriage is knowing God for yourself. The other point under it is mastering the voice of God. And I just gave you an example when I made inquiries many years ago. The only way you will get to know and be sure and this is God speaking is if you already have an existing relationship with him. You don't just show up one day and, "God, I want to get married." Is he the one? You've never talked to God. You go hear voices. You go hear voices. So you need to be able to have mastered God's voice. So when you eventually get a direction, you'll be sure, okay, this is coming from God, or this is coming from my flesh, or from my heart, or whatever. Okay, let me quickly rush to the next one. Discover yourself. Discover who you are in God. You know, one of the reasons why ladies sell themselves off cheap is because they don't know who they are. If you know who you are, if you know who God has called you to be, it also helps you to also streamline the kind of people that come around you. For example, you're called to be a missionary, and you're dating or you're with someone who is telling you that he has no business in being a missionary. I think you're kind of in the wrong booth. Another point is study. I mentioned earlier, you cannot be a doctor without going to school, right? So if you want to get married, my darling, please start studying. There are 1,001 books out there. Somebody said if you're planning to get married and you've not read at least 10 books on marriage, you're not ready. So try. It mustn't be the 10, right? But read books. Basically, there are 1,000 I can recommend. Probably I'll drop them in the comment section, or I'll drop them somewhere. One of the ones that we read it together, my husband and I, was Things I Wish I Knew Before I Got Married by Gary Chapman. That helped us a lot in, let me use this word, unspiritual things. Because guess what, marriage is not 100% spiritual. You're going to be living with a human being. You're going to cook, you're going to clean the house together. The toilet will not wash itself, right? The bills will not pay themselves, right? So these are practical things that you will learn and do in marriage. So that's the one of the book I recommend. I also recommend The Marriage Covenant, right, by Derek Prince. So there are many more, trust me. There's the marriage God's Purpose for Marriage by Billy Akoni. There are so many. Pick one, pick two, pick three. If you're in a relationship, good and fine, you and your fiancé should read them together and trust God to learn love lessons from them. So that's number 4 point. Study. And number 5, and the last I'll be giving here today, is pray. My dear sister, you cannot pray enough. You cannot over pray, right? You cannot over pray. In preparing for marriage, apart from the fact that you need to hear God to know the right person, the truth is that you're not perfect. That's the truth. There are a whole lot of things that are in you that God needs to work on. God needs to take out. God needs to bring in the virtues and take out the trash. So you need to be a woman or a man of prayer and continue to trust God. You know, people say, oh, I want a man that is this. What about you? Have you become that woman that is this? Or a man who say, oh, I want a woman that is this. You want a woman that has this kind of, maybe that is patient, that is kind. Have you been able to trust God for patience and kindness in you? Because you don't want to go get married to somebody who God has helped to be patient, to be kind, and you are not the person, you're not the temptation that the enemy will now use to take away that virtue that God has put in that person. So beyond hearing from God, it needs to be a constant thing. We need to constantly pray that God will work in our lives, in our character, and make us the best partner, so that when we eventually meet our Mr. Right or Mrs. Right, we're going to just, jive. Thank you so much. I'm sorry this video is a little bit longer, but this topic, it's a lot, right? So, but thank you so much for tuning in. I'd like to get feedback from you. Feel free to share in the comment section any other thing that you think we should, get together or put into consideration while preparing for marriage. Thank you. God bless you. Do not go away without subscribing. Do not go away without liking, sharing, and commenting on this video. God bless you. Thank you.